So let's take a look at a couple different illustrations. This one is the bad design. Um, you don't want to do it this way. Not good. Not so well designed IUL. This is the one if you do the higher death benefit and it gets you a lower cash value. So I hope you can all see this at least well enough. What this is I ran an illustration for a 45-year-old male. Happens to be in California, best rate class possible, and it's a $500 monthly premium. And so there's the $6,000 premium outlay per year. And so after 1 year, the guy's 46 years old. It's for 400,000 in death benefit. So this is a level 400,000 death benefit. That's the wrong way to go about this. Typically, it's higher than it needs to be, and it's level, so it's not outpacing the contributions that you might otherwise be able to make, and so it's not as flexible and so forth. I put this big box here to point out red flags. Whenever you're reviewing somebody's in-force policies, good idea to take a look at an in-force illustration so that you can see if these kinds of things were taking place, or even if you're running it yourself through WinFlex or whatever, these things will jump out at you and it'll tell you this isn't so good, we can improve on this. What this is showing is the cash surrender value of the policy, which is nothing for a few years, and then it's barely anything for the next couple of years. By the end of 5 years, in this particular example, the person's put in 30 grand, and if they walked away from the policy, what's that, like 5 grand, eight, or is that 8 grand, whatever it is, it's nothing. It's not good. So moving on to the next page, same illustration, just going out farther. This is to year 20, so the guy's 65 years old now, and he's put in 120,000. Just simple math. It's the 6,000 every year for the 20 years of the policy. He's at 120. He's going to retire. He's 66 years old, and he's this L over here is just indicating he's going to want to take income now. All right, so he's taking it as a loan. I will get into that in a minute. That's critical that you take it as a loan. But he wants to take $20,000 a year to supplement his retirement. And he starts doing this, and you can see what starts happening to the policy. Face amount immediately starts decreasing. The cash surrender value decreases. The accumulation value of the policy, it goes up a little bit. It's still outpacing things a little bit, but here's what happens and why this is not so great. Next page is the end. All right, so I'm just showing you the 3 pages of this. And now he's 75 years old. So he's only 20 years into retirement. And so this policy is now, he's taking the $20,000 and it's done. Actually, he's only 10 years. I'm sorry, he's 10 years into retirement. So that plan for him, the 20,000 per year, only lasted 10 years. And then he's without a death benefit and he's without income. And if you're like me, you're planning on living a lot longer than that. So it's not like that's phenomenally terrible. Again, it's not ugly necessarily at this point, but it's not so great. So here's the way we like to do it. A well-designed IUL. You lower the cash value, you maximize the contributions, and that's flexible. Again, you probably want to stay within a 10 times rule, but whatever they're comfortable with, and that maximizes the cash value accumulation. And it's an increasing death benefit. So even though it starts at the lower end, it increases, and that's secondary anyway, really. The primary purpose of this is to get a cash accumulation so you can take it out in retirement. If, God forbid, your plan doesn't work out, something happens, your beneficiary will get a tax-free death benefit check out of this. So it's there as more of a safety net than anything. And we're looking at the S&P 500 index, again, the high cap. So this is the one that everybody knows, and it performs well, and you can take a look at the last 20 years and show them what it's done despite the downturns that we've incurred in that time. Boom. This one, similar setup. It's 500 bucks a month. That's 6,000 a year. It's the same 45-year-old guy. And so after 1 year, what we did here different though is we started at 100,000. So it's $100,000 death benefit instead of four. But already after a year, you can see it's at 104 and some change. So it's gone up already because we've got the increasing death benefit on this approach. The cash value, where I had a big red flag here before, it's already gaining cash value from the get-go. In fact, after 5 years, the surrender value is almost equal to what he put into it. And if we keep going down farther, we're going to go to the next page and show the same situation as where the guy goes 20 years into it, and now he's 65. He's put the 120,000 in, and he takes the loans. He's 66 years old. He's going to take $20,000 a year on this in the form of loans. Why do I keep talking about the loans? It's important because that's how you take the money and distribute money to yourself and use it any way you want without being taxed on it. So you can, a lot of people think, hey, this is a tax deferred thing and you'll be taxed at your future tax rate, which is not so bad. Usually work out fine. It's better than that because, again, I'll get more into it in a little bit, but you're taking a loan, which is due back, which is paid out by the death benefit because it reduces based on what you owe on the loan. And so even here, by the time he's retired, we're over 300,000 in a death benefit because it was increasing the whole time. It went from 100 to over 300. So that's good. And then he starts taking the 20,000 per year in the form of participating loans. And look what happens. I go to, again, the same 3 pages. And now this goes all the way out to age 85. And he still only put 120,000 and he stopped paying on it way up there when he retired. And he's now gotten $20,000 a year for 20 years. So he was putting $6,000 a year in for 20 years. And then he took 20,000 out for 20 years, tax free. And yeah, you can do that. Indexing strategies, I won't go too deep into this because these things change on a regular basis and you probably want to talk to a financial advisor and read all about them and check the performance history on these. But if you do a cap focus one like the S&P 500 high cap, I would say for illustration purposes, you probably just want to go and do 100% on that typically, unless they're really wanting to do different things and mix it up a bit, then at least 80%. But for illustrative purposes, starting out, you do 100%. The cap on these policies, again, usually 10 to 12%, and that's how it's illustrated. That's how it was illustrated in what I just showed you. And one of the good reasons, again, that you show the S&P 500 is not only do people know it, but it's been around for a long time. It literally started in the 50s and has a history prior to that. Before it was the S&P 500, it was the S&P 400 or the 200 or whatever it was back all the way back to the 20s. So it's been around. You can track its history. It's done well. The participation focus type indexes or indices. Don't put any more than 20% in there if they insist on looking at it. They're the bright, shiny ones that have higher participation rates. And, you know, Barclays, Pacesetter. Yeah, Pacesetter is another one that's out there sometimes called volatility control. But they're relatively new compared to the S&P 500, and the reason they have a higher participation rate so you can get higher returns is because frankly they historically have not performed as well and they don't go back nearly as long. They're relatively new. You can run the historical performance on those and show people all about it too. Not that you discount them and discard them, just be aware of that.